Good evening. Hope everyone's having a blessed evening. I am having a blessed evening. So we back with another good one. We definitely back with another good one. We're gonna get into this topic that is really, really important. We definitely gonna get into this topic because this topic needs to be talked about, right? It's about homelessness and single men lives that's going on. But we're not just gonna only talk about the homelessness, right? We're gonna talk about the facility right over there in Bellevue, down there on 28th Street, on 30th Street, right there, because you got to take the 6 train, right? You got to take the 6 train and get off 28th Street, and then keep walking straight down, all the way down until you get to 28th and 1st Avenue, right? And then you make that right turn, and you walk up to 30th, and Bellevue is right there. You will see Bellevue Hospital, but you got to walk up, about a block or two, right, to hit the Bellevue, the homeless shelter, right? That shelter, that intake and shelter right there, basically was the doorway of a lot of men in New York City success. That was, and I was one of those men that went there twice. I've been there twice inside the intake and inside the Bellevue shelter, looking for a place to stay. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not ashamed to tell you that. But me going through there made me the man that I am today, physically, to appreciate a roof over my head, that I don't have women throwing me out that I have dated in the past, throw me out, or had the cops call on me and everything else to get me out the house, where that I could catch felonies or get locked up or domestic violence and stuff like that. Because we know that we go through that. You understand what I'm saying? So the mayor, MAMDANI, is moving to close the doors and shut the doors on it. But before I get into it, I just want to give my experience and going through them doors, going through Bellevue. You understand? The shelter that all men in New York City, right, have to go to if they seeking to get an apartment. Peace, y'all. Yes, any single man that's homeless in the street, or somebody kicked them out, or your family kicked you out and stuff like that, they don't want you in the house no more, they don't want you there, you have to go to Bellevue. You have to go to Bellevue, right? And say that you homeless. And then and then they place you, right? They place you in there. And then probably that night or the next day, if they have enough beds, right, they will move you and place you somewhere else. Sometimes in a hotel, they'll place you there for 2 weeks, because now they want to see all of these places that you live at. You cannot go back there. And that's how that process goes. That's how that process goes. The reason why I'm saying that is because that's how that intake go for single men going into Bellevue Hospital. Yes. When you first go there, there may not be a bed for you. There may not be a room for you there. Right? And the reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I'm saying that, right, is because a lot of men have to go through that. A lot of men have to go through that. A lot of men have to go through that. Yeah, they do. For whatever reason, you fall on hard time, you coming from another state, and you can't be in that state anymore. You come to New York workers will you open arms, out of towners. It's actually true fact, right? So the mayor is planning to close it this year. I think sometime in the summertime, he's planning to close Bellevue shelter for men, the intake for men. Yes. Now, it's bitter and sweet. It's bitter and sweet. Because when you first go through there, they don't really got no food. They don't really have nothing for you. Now, one time I took the showers in there. If anybody know, them showers is freezing and cold. There's no warm water there. That's an actually true fact. Yes, I had to go through it, man. I had to be placed. Had to be placed, and they could place you in anywhere. They could place you in Queens. They could place you in Brooklyn. They could place you in Staten Island. They could place you in the Bronx. They could place you in Manhattan. Wherever there's a bed available, they could place you. You may feel on hard times, and it's not even hard times. A lot of men that work for the city been in Bellevue. They went through Bellevue. I saw them working in the shelter. A lot of people that work for MTA, work for NYC, work for the Parks Department. I saw them in the shelter. I saw them. Yes, it's true. It is true. It is true. Yes, it is true. That's my experience of going through Bellevue. But for me, it was sweet. It was sweet. I had to go through there because I had to uplift myself. And I'm not ashamed to say that I went to the shelter. I went into Bellevue. But I didn't let that define me. I defined my space and my square and my circle. That's exactly what I did. And in there, I became a better man, better. Right? I started strategizing. While I was working there, I had two jobs. So I wasn't really inside the shelter like that. I was in it for 4 years. 4 years I was in there. Yes, I was. And every single man have to go through Bellevue. They have to go through there. Have to. It's mandatory. Because if you don't got no place to go, where you going to go? Where are you going to go? You can't go back to your family house. You can't go back to her house. You can't go back to his house. Either you're going to be sleeping on the street, or you're going to be sleeping on the train and buses, or you're going to be going to drop-off centers. Now, they got drop-off centers, too. I slept in drop-off centers for a whole week. And the drop-off centers that's downtown in Manhattan, they didn't have no beds. They had big, huge chairs. Huge chairs that I slept in. And when this video finished, I'm going to upload this video. I'm going to upload a piece of what I've been through. Yes. And this was during COVID time. COVID was really, really high. Yes. Yes. But I made it through. And as you can see, I have my own place. I don't have a house or nothing like that, but it's okay. It's a start, right? A new beginning for the growth and development of you, with that you can fix your credit, with that you can fix yourself, with that you can mend bridges that is kind of broke, that needs to be rebuilt. You can do that by building on yourself. And this is towards every man that's going through this right now, that's sleeping in these hallways, sleeping out on the streets, sleeping in buildings, sleeping on roofs, sleeping on the trains, and sleeping on buses, and sleeping in these drop-off centers. Don't let your circumstances define you. You define your circumstances. Get your life together. It doesn't matter what you are going through. You are a man. You feel me? You are a man. So I just wanted to give some words of inspiration. So we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. So I want to read this. Let me read some of what MAMDANI was saying. I want to read some of this. Give me 1 second, okay? I'm going to get to it right now. I want to read it. If your guys don't mind. Okay. One second. Get to it right now. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me get my glasses. These are my reading glasses, y'all. Okay. Okay. It says, MAMDANI administration will relocate where homelessness New Yorkers can sign up for shelters bed in 2 weeks, as it quickly moved to shutting an augmentative midtown facility and transfer those servers somewhere else. Now, I don't know where they're going to transfer the servers at. Do they have a new facility? But the objective is that what the mayor is saying, that he wants to build a new intake, a new facility, right, for homeless men, single homeless men that's going through a tough time in life, that has been beaten and stomped on by society and just by life, period, right? So if this is the case, I want to give him a big shout out. This is a long time coming, and a lot of men need this. A lot of men need this backbone, because the men is the backbone. They are. They just need a little help. The massive men's shelter on 30th Street that long served as the front door for single men, families without children needing beds for the night, will fully close at the end of this month. So at the end of this month, at the end of April, they're closing this. Mayor MAMDANI announced the closing of the Bellevue shelter in March, citing that the building decaying in structure, right, and desire to create more livable space for the city's homelessness. That's men. So that's a big shout out. Thank you so much. And you can actually see, if you're a taxpayer, you can see where the money is going. And it's helping out thousands and thousands of men that is homeless, that life been beating them, drugs and everything else, and they need a little help, So I want to commend him on that. If this take place, right? Starting May the 1st, homeless men would instead need to ask for a shelter at 8 East 3rd Street, while families without dependent children will go to 33rd Boring Street. So if you don't have any children, if you're a single man, you got to go to 33rd Boring Street. What I'm going to do is put it in my descriptions if you are watching my video, It says the effort is part of MAMDANI administration goal of improving shelter conditions for the city homelessness population and convincing more New Yorkers, right? Convincing more New Yorkers living on the street to come indoors. So the conditions that's over there in Bellevue is not really good conditions. They don't have any food. They don't have anything. They don't have any clothes. I would love to be a part of this. I would love to be a part of this voluntary. I would love to be a part of this because I remember that when I was in a shelter for 4 years, I was one of the top ones that was there. Had 2 jobs, motion and movement that was never there. That was always giving my pay stubs and everything else. And I was following the rules and regulations. And sometimes, well, when I first got there, I was following the curfew. The curfew was at 10, but now I think the curfew is at 11 now. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I ain't been in there. I have not been in there. But I go back and forth into the shelter that I go to show those that is homeless that you can do it, and that I'm working for transit. Yes, I do that to encourage the men, to encourage them, right? But advocates for homeless people say the city's moving too fast, and the new intake facility for men won't be ready to properly serve the most vulnerable New Yorkers, those that's vulnerable. They say that they moving too fast. But I understand if this building is decaying and he see the infrastructure and everything else, that is a hazard. You got to shut the building down because right now it has a scaffold there, and that scaffold been there for years and years and years. Now I haven't seen nobody working on it. I don't know. But David Grufford, the executive director of the Coalition of Homelessness, said his concern center around the new intake location for single men, which is currently a man shelter that offer substance abuse treatment. That's the first thing you need. In operation, a health clinic that's inside. So a lot of men that been on the streets, that's coming home from these jails and everything else, they need a place to go. Some of them don't have family to come home. Their family is no longer there. They don't have anybody. They don't have any friends. They got to start all over. You understand what I'm saying? So this will be a great step in getting these men back on their feet and back getting their life in order. Because I'm one of them. That's right. That was in the shelter. So I used all the resources that they had to uplift my life. And in there, that's when I applied for MTA, bus operator, while I was in there. Because I was working, yes. So I hope and pray that the new facility can provide accessible for people that wheelchair and stretchers and walkers. They also too are homeless, so they can provide that service there. This is where the tax money is going. For many years, that building was decaying because the city didn't give a rat's. I don't want to say that word. A rat's hoonie about single men going through stuff. You a man, you go through it. Go through the struggles, go through the drugs, go through being beaten and killed and murdered, go sleep on the trains and everything else. While they was pouring money into everything else, they forgot the men that is the backbone of this city. You understand what I'm saying? So it says, MAMDANI said that it is not accessible to people with mobile impairments, and adding that there's only one working elevator in the building, and it's not ADA. That's right. It's not for those that's disabled, right? So that'd be a good start and a great start. If your intake is not accessible, right? If it's not accessible, then you are effectively denied the shelter to homelessness. New Yorkers. So if you are in a wheelchair and a walker, you are denied because they don't have a facility that's accessible that can cater to those that's homeless that need help, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I see his point, and that could lead to a big lawsuit. That's probably be going on. I don't know. Which is violation of the law. The city basically has no plan in place for how they are going to utilize this in a way that will not cause harm to our clients. If you show up with a wheelchair, there is no way for you to safely access the building, he said. About 60% of single adult homeless population need to be placed in accessible shelters. I agree with him. So about 80 people a night, anywhere from 80 to 100 men at night goes into Bellevue. So it looks like we have to wait to see, because I understand that they need to get the people out the building, and the infrastructure is being decayed is because when the infrastructure is being decayed and everything else, nobody cares. What if a portion of the building collapsed and hurt somebody? Then that's another story. This is partial of the city that don't care. So it looks like he's doing a really, really good job with that part of his mayorship. And we want to send a big shout out to MAMDANI. We want to give him a big shout out because now you can see where that your tax money is going. Some people not going to like it, some people not. But as New Yorkers, we are here to help each other out. That's the objective as New Yorkers. And this is what we're supposed to do as a city. As the best city in the entire world is New York City, yes. This is an actually true fact, yes. So I just want to share some of this information with your guys, And I definitely appreciate your guys because you know why? You didn't have to be here. No, you did not. You didn't have to be here. So you guys have an amazing, 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 amazing Sunday. Peace, y'all. Peace, peace, peace.